your cat knows who you are. Not in the way your best friend does, or even the way your dog does, but in a way that's uniquely feline. It's easy to assume they don't care. They don't come running when you call. They don't wag their tails like a dog would, and they certainly don't stare at you with tears of devotion in their eyes. Instead, they blink slowly, they rub against your legs, and sometimes, if you're really special, they leave a dead bug on your pillow. Romantic. But how do they actually know it's you? They don't recognize your face the way humans do. If you shaved your head or dyed your hair neon green, your friends would gasp, but your cat wouldn't even blink. Change your perfume, though, or start walking differently, and suddenly they're suspicious. Cats have their own way of identifying you, and it's not based on how you look. It's something deeper. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how your cat tells you apart from everyone else. You'll see the world a little more like they do, and best of all, you'll finally understand why they stare at you like they're solving a mystery only they can comprehend. To a cat, the world is not seen, it's smelled. While humans rely on their eyes to tell people apart, cats use something far more personal: your scent. And no, we're not talking about your cologne or the fabric softener on your hoodie. Your cat recognizes you, your natural, unfiltered, unmistakable scent, the one that lingers on your skin, your clothes, and probably your couch. Their noses are built for this. With over 200 million scent receptors, compared to your measly 5 million, cats don't just detect smells, they catalog them. They know exactly how you smell after a workout, after a shower, and even after sneaking off to pet another cat. Yes, they know. This is why they rub against your legs, weave around your ankles, and bunt their heads into your hand. It's not just affection, it's ownership. They're marking you, mixing your scent with theirs like a signature on a contract. This human belongs to me. That's also why your favorite hoodie is suddenly their favorite nap spot. It smells like you. It is you. If you ever think your cat doesn't recognize you, try swapping your usual clothes for something fresh out of the dryer. Watch their eyes narrow as they lean in, sniff, and process the betrayal. You don't just look different, you smell different. And to them, that's a far bigger identity crisis. Your cat may ignore you, but don't be fooled. They know your voice. They've memorized it, tucked it away in that mysterious little feline brain, and when you speak, they know exactly who's talking. They just don't always feel the need to acknowledge it. Because, well, they're cats. Studies have shown that cats can recognize their owner's voice among strangers. Scientists actually tested this by playing recordings of different people calling a cat's name. When it was the owner's voice, the cat's ears twitched, their tail flicked, maybe even a slight head turn, subtle but undeniable proof that they heard and recognized it. They just decided it wasn't worth responding to. This makes sense when you think about it. Cats evolved to be independent hunters, not pack animals. Unlike dogs who were bred to obey humans, cats don't see a command as something to follow. They see it as a suggestion, and usually they suggest ignoring it. But here's the interesting part. When a cat does respond to your voice, whether it's with a meow, a chirp, or just walking into the room, that's not obedience. That's trust. They're choosing to interact with you, acknowledging you on their own terms. And if your cat ever meows back when you talk to them, congratulations, that's a conversation. You may not understand what's being said, but make no mistake, your cat knows exactly who they're talking to. Cats are obsessed with patterns. They don't just notice routines, they memorize them. To your cat, you are not just a person. You are a series of predictable movements, habits, and rhythms. The way you walk, the way you pour their food, the way you settle into your favorite spot on the couch at the same time every evening, it's all part of the grand, unspoken script of their world. That's why your cat always seems to be one step ahead of you. They know when you're about to wake up, not because they can read the clock, but because they've studied the way you breathe in your sleep. They know when it's mealtime, not because they're actually hungry, though they will always act like they are, but because your routine has conditioned them to expect it. Even the way you walk is a signature. If someone else enters the house and moves differently, maybe heavier steps, a different rhythm, your cat picks up on it immediately. That's why they'll bolt under the couch when a stranger arrives, but remain perfectly relaxed when it's you. Change your routine, though, and you might notice some side-eye. Stay up later than usual? They'll sit there, blinking judgment at you. Leave at an unusual time? Expect confusion. Cats may act indifferent, but make no mistake, they are paying very close attention. And in their own quiet way, they are making sure you stay on script. To a cat, eye contact is serious business. In the animal world, locking eyes is often a challenge, a way of saying, I see you, and I am prepared to assert dominance. That's why if you stare at a cat too long, they may give you a slow, deliberate blink, or if they're feeling particularly dramatic, they'll just walk away. But here's the fascinating part. If a cat gives you a slow blink, it's not just a random eye movement. It's a sign of trust. In cat language, closing their eyes in front of someone means they feel safe. Predators don't shut their eyes around threats. So when your cat looks at you, blinks slowly and waits, they're saying something incredibly rare for a creature as independent as a cat. I trust you. You are not a threat. Try it yourself. Next time your cat is lounging nearby, make soft eye contact and give them a slow, gentle blink. If they blink back, congratulations. You've just had a silent, heartwarming conversation. If they don't, well, they probably got distracted by something more important, like a dust particle floating through the air. And then there's the stare. If your cat ever sits across the room and just watches you, unblinking, with that eerie, almost supernatural focus, don't take it personally. They're not plotting anything, probably. They're just analyzing, observing, making sure you're still following the routine they've so carefully documented in their mind. They may not recognize your face the way a human does, but they know your expressions, the way your eyes move, the tiny shifts in your body language. To a cat, your eyes tell a story. And if you learn to speak their language, you might just find they've been talking to you all along. Touch is a complicated subject with cats. Unlike dogs, who will accept a full-body hug with unshakable enthusiasm, cats have a much stricter rule book when it comes to physical contact. Some love a good head scratch, others tolerate exactly 3 pets before swatting you, and a few will only accept affection on their terms, which unfortunately seem to change by the minute. But if a cat willingly lets you touch them, it's a sign of recognition and trust. They know your hands, your scent, the way you move. They've categorized you as safe. That's why some cats will press their heads into your palm, lean into your touch, or even flop onto their back. Not necessarily for a belly rub, proceed with caution, but to show they're comfortable enough to expose their most vulnerable spot. And then there's kneading. If your cat climbs onto your lap and starts rhythmically pressing their paws into you, congratulations, you've been turned into a giant living pillow. This behavior traces back to kittenhood, when they kneaded their mother's belly to stimulate milk flow. If they do it to you, it's not just because your sweatshirt is particularly soft. It's because they associate you with warmth, comfort, and safety. Of course, every cat has rules when it comes to petting. Some love chin scratches, others prefer ear rubs, and some will accept a full-body stroke until suddenly they won't. That's not them being fickle, it's just how cats communicate. They might flick their tail, twitch their ears, or even gently bite to let you know, meow. That's enough, human. Ignore these signals, and you may find yourself on the receiving end of an abrupt departure, or worse, a surprise swat. The key to earning a cat's affection isn't just touching them, it's learning how they want to be touched. And when you get it right, there's nothing quite like the feeling of a cat choosing to stay curled up against you, completely at ease. Because in their world, touch isn't just about comfort, it's about trust. Cats may have a reputation for being independent, but if they've bonded with you, they recognize you in a way that goes beyond scent, sound, or routine. They feel you, not just physically, but emotionally. And if you've ever had a cat choose to curl up next to you after a long day, you know, they don't just see you as a food dispenser, they see you as theirs. Affection from a cat isn't always loud or obvious. Some show their love by following you from room to room, pretending it's just a coincidence that they ended up in the same spot. Others will bring you gifts, like a favorite toy, a stolen sock, or, if you're truly special, a freshly caught bug, a horrifying yet heartfelt gesture. Then there are the cats who greet you at the door. Not because they want something, well, maybe a little, but because they genuinely missed you. They've memorized how long you're usually gone, and when you take longer than expected, they notice. Some will even scold you with dramatic meows when you return, as if to say, "Where have you been? Do you know how worried I was?" And let's talk about the headbutt, the ultimate cat compliment. When a cat presses their forehead against you, they're not just being cute, they're marking you with scent glands on their head, claiming you as part of their world. It's their way of saying, "You belong to me." The deepest proof of recognition, though, is when a cat chooses to rest near you, or even better, on you. In the wild, cats only sleep in places they feel safe. If your cat naps on your lap or snuggles up next to you, that's not just comfort, it's trust at the highest level. Cats may not show love the way humans do, but when they recognize you as someone they're emotionally attached to, they let you into their carefully guarded world. And in that world, you're not just their owner, you're family. Cats don't recognize you the way another human would. They won't memorize the shape of your face, and they won't panic if you get a new haircut. But make no mistake, they know you. Not by sight, but by scent, by sound, by the way you move through their world. They know your footsteps, your voice, your daily routine. They know your touch, the way your presence feels, and most importantly, they know how they feel about you. You are not just some random creature who happens to refill their food bowl. You are a walking, talking part of their environment, one they've studied, mapped out, and, in their own way, claimed as their own. Whether it's rubbing against you to mix scents, greeting you at the door, or settling into their favorite spot next to you, every small act of recognition is a quiet, feline way of saying, "You belong here. You belong to me." And if you've ever wondered whether your cat truly cares, just watch what happens when you disappear for too long. They may act indifferent at first, as if they barely noticed. But then comes the stare, the slow blink, the subtle shift back into routine. They're not just acknowledging you, they're reassuring themselves that their world is back in order. So yes, your cat knows you. They recognize you in ways that don't need words, don't need grand gestures. And if you've ever been on the receiving end of a slow blink, a headbutt, or the simple decision to sit beside you when they could have been anywhere else, then congratulations. You are not just a human. You are their human. Subscribe to Klawsome.